This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Hey, what's going on everyone? Greg here, and believe it or not, we actually have iPhone 13 rumors already. Yeah, I know the iPhone 12 just came out last month, and the iPhone 12 Pro Max and iPhone 12 mini just came out like 2-ish weeks ago, so it's kind of crazy that we already have enough information to actually make a video on the iPhone 13. And it looks like the iPhone 13 is going to solve some of the main issues some people had with the iPhone 12. So let's get into the video and go over everything we know so far about the iPhone 13. First of all, let's talk about the design. Now, traditionally, you wouldn't expect any major design changes coming to the iPhone 13 this year because we received a visual update with the iPhone 12 with its slimmer bezels and new flat-sided design. And it seems like Apple has been keeping the phone design pretty much the same for 3 years in a row and then changes it up a bit. That's the route they took with the iPhone 6 to the iPhone 8, and that's the route they took with the iPhone 12 to the iPhone 11. However, the iPhone 13 may receive a visual update in one area, and that of course has to do with the notch. Now listen, we've heard rumors about the notch shrinking ever since the iPhone 10 came out, and in the early days of the iPhone 12 rumors, there were a lot of leaks and rumors saying that the iPhone 12 would feature a smaller notch. So feel free to take this rumor with a fair amount of salt. However, even though we are wearing our skeptical glasses, this rumor does come courtesy of Ice Universe on Twitter, who usually does have a pretty solid track record. And he shared what, I'll just be kind and say, is a better sketch than I could have done, showing off how the new notch design would look. Now, in terms of width, the iPhone 13 notch, according to Ice, will be the same width. However, the height of the notch will be reduced in size, kind of giving it an overall smaller cutout of the screen area. I kind of think in a way, as much as some people hate the notch, I think Apple really likes it because it gives the iPhone a clear identifier when you see it in a sea of other near bezel-less smartphones. Like, when you see the front of an iPhone, you know it's an iPhone. And you can't say the same for a lot of Android phones out there. From the front, they all kind of look pretty similar. I do think Apple will eventually get rid of the notch when they have the technology to implement their sensors and cameras behind the display, but for now, this does seem like, at least to me, a visual change that they would consider making. As for the display, well, one of the main missing features from this year's iPhone 12 was the lack of a 120Hz display. In fact, this got people quite upset a few months ago when leaks were saying that the iPhone 12 was not going to come with a 120Hz display, so they should be happy to know that this year, according to John Prosser, Apple is indeed intending to ship a 120Hz iPhone 13 with LTPO displays. LTPO displays will allow Apple to change the refresh rate of the OLED display, much like they already do with their Apple Watches, which do use an LTPO display. I assume these iPhone 13s with LTPO displays would work very similarly to how the iPad Pros do with their ProMotion 120Hz displays. That is that Apple will be able to change the refresh rate of this display to different settings. For example, when you're watching a movie, Apple could change the refresh rate to 24 Hz for 24 FPS video. This would give you a natural movie frame rate while also saving power on the display, which would lead to better battery life. Or when you're looking at a photo, Apple could lower the refresh rate to save battery, and then when you go to interact with the screen, say by scrolling or maybe you go to play a game, Apple could then ramp up the display all the way to 120Hz to give you that smooth, buttery effect. One of the main reasons why Apple did not ship a 120Hz display this year on the iPhone 12 was because when the display ran at 120Hz all the time, it significantly drained the battery life. And while I'm sure Apple would have loved to use an LTPO display for the iPhone 12, my guess is that they were in short supply because they are harder to manufacture, and manufacturers who make LTPO displays like Samsung probably reserved most of those displays for their own phone lineup. Alright, we still have a lot of interesting rumors to cover, but before I do that, I want to tell you about our sponsor for this video, Squarespace. Squarespace is the best place to go if you need to build a website, and best of all, it requires absolutely zero experience to get started. I was able to get my website up and running in just about half an hour with its own customized fonts, colors, images, and even a video playing in the background of the homepage section. Now, you probably already know that Squarespace is the easiest place to get a website up and running, but it's so much more powerful than just a blog or landing page for your personal brand. In fact, we recently used Squarespace as the home for my podcast, GadgetCast, where we even set up a custom storefront selling exclusive GadgetCast hats and patches. This was my first time selling anything online, and the experience could not have been easier, with Squarespace handling all of the e-commerce for the site and making it easy to accept a wide range of payment options from Stripe, PayPal, and yes, even Apple Pay. Squarespace also connects up to G Suite, so you can get your own professional email tied directly to your domain name. And best of all, you can get a 14-day free trial and 10% off your first purchase by going to squarespace.com/GregsGadgets or clicking on the link in the description below. So make sure you check out Squarespace today for all your website, blog, portfolio, and online store needs. And thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Now, this next rumor is going to have a lot of you upset, but apparently Apple is working on a high-end iPhone in 2021 that would offer a completely wireless and portless experience. This rumor comes courtesy of Ming-Chi Kuo, and on a recent episode of Front Page Tech, John Prosser also confirmed that a portless iPhone was indeed in the works. So basically, at least one iPhone 13 in 2021 might ship without a Lightning port. That means you can no longer plug in a cable to charge your phone or transfer data off of it or into it. Instead, Apple would be relying completely on wireless technologies like wirelessly charging and AirDrop to replace the functions of the Lightning port. Now, this rumor makes a lot of sense to me because one of the first things I thought when I saw Apple's new MagSafe charger for the iPhone 12 is that this is a move to remove the Lightning port from the iPhone, because one of the biggest issues Apple had to solve if they removed the Lightning port was how were people going to be able to use their phone and charge at the same time? Well, the MagSafe charger solves that problem, and when you look at the Apple Watch, another product with no user-accessible ports, you can pretty much see that a portless iPhone is an inevitability at this point. As for the benefits of a portless iPhone 13, well, even though a charging port doesn't take up a lot of space, phones are already incredibly small and pack in so many different components. If Apple removes the port, they could maybe add additional components or make space for larger components like a slightly larger battery, a bigger camera module, or better speakers, or whatever. It could also be a way to increase the longevity of the phone by offering increased water or dust resistance. Another benefit could be for security-focused individuals. Right now, one of the main ways to hack into an iPhone and bypass its password or passcode is to use a device that physically plugs into the iPhone to crack your password. We know Apple is really focused on security and privacy, and by removing ports from the iPhone, this could basically get rid of industries like GrayKey. We also know from analyst Ming-Chi Kuo that Apple is working on adding Touch ID back into the iPhone 13, and this is also being reported on by Mark Gurman from Bloomberg. Right now, both reports say that Apple is planning to add the Touch ID fingerprint sensor under the display and not in the power button like we saw with the latest iPad Air. Now, don't worry if you like Face ID, because Apple is apparently going to keep that around as well and include Touch ID and Face ID together. Hopefully, that means you can use either method to unlock your device. And what I would really like to see actually is Apple add a dual option where in the settings, you can add it so that if you want to unlock your iPhone, you would have to use the Face ID and fingerprint scanner at the same time. I feel like that would be the most secure way to lock your iPhone. Now, of course, there's other assumptions we can make about the iPhone 13, and that is that it will include a new processor, the A15 processor. Now, I'm still not over just how fast and capable Apple's A14 processor is on the iPhone 12, so I don't even want to think about the jump in performance right now, but now with Apple using a similar architecture for their M1 Mac chips, I think we are still going to see major improvements in Apple's A15 chip and beyond. And honestly, it makes me even more excited to think about how that's going to help power the next generation of Macs, because the current M1 chip is just really good. All right, everyone, and so far that's all the information I have for you regarding the iPhone 13. Now listen, it's fun to cover these leaks and rumors, and I get just as excited as all of you watching, but take some advice from your friendly neighborhood Greg and realize that it's still very early in the iPhone 13 development cycle. And while Apple may plan for a lot of features to be available for the iPhone 13, that doesn't mean everything we talked about is going to make it. So just realize it's early, we still have a long way to go, and when I get new information, I'll be sure to bring it to you. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel to get that news as soon as it comes out. Also, if you like this video and you found it interesting, give me a like. Also, be sure to let me know in the comments below, what do you think about these iPhone 13 rumors and leaks, and what features are you excited for the most? Also, don't forget to check out our sponsor for this video, Squarespace. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.